Hi, my name's Leon Cygman. I teach statistics, and my teaching tip is, I think what's really important to students is making the curriculum real to them. It's certainly important to teach theory, but theory works in a vacuum. Theory is not useful to the students unless they can apply it to a real situation. And I usually tend to find information or stuff in the news that we can relate our theory to, or stuff that they can relate to, like a job they've had. In the area of statistics, we take small samples and then we apply those samples to a larger population. How this is applicable in the real world is during an election cycle or popularity polls. You hear a lot about popularity polls in US elections and in Canadian elections, how popular is the Prime Minister or the President. And in Canada, we have 40 million people. Well, it's impossible to survey 40 million people, so we survey a smaller amount, let's say as small as 1,000. And then what we find in that 1,000, we apply it to the general population. But there are other factors that we consider as well, where the data comes from, the time of day that it was gathered from, and then we come up with numbers, and then how do campaign workers or political staff use those numbers to inform the political candidate about what the mood of the country is. They're often quite amazed at how polls work and the small number of people that they actually look at to represent a large community. As I said, population of Canada is 40 million. In the States, it's 300 million. And really all the pollsters do is they look at a number of 1,000 people. So there is room for error in that. We talk about that as well. So students are often amazed how small the poll numbers are versus how large the population is. I think they view numbers a lot differently now. I think when they looked at numbers before and you see a number like 30%, it's more than just believing that number. It's asking questions about how that number was derived. Okay, maybe 30%, but they start asking questions like, how big was your sample? What is the margin of error? When was the poll drawn? How was it drawn? It turns the number into a live item rather than just a static number that they see on the page. I think what people need to do is look at the news and see what's happening in the news and in their environment, tap into the students' experiences and relate their theory to what the students have experienced. I taught a management class once, and a lot of the students had part-time jobs, and we talked about McDonald's quite a bit because they've either been to McDonald's or they've worked at the McDonald's or some other fast food restaurant, and they understand, even though what they're seeing at the front is important, what they have to realize is what goes on behind the scenes, all the management and the supply chain information that goes on to make the organization work. So relating it to something that they can relate to is really important.